song playing right now is what it's all about. We're protectors, not protesters. And today we're going to be talking a bit about the water protectors and what they're going through. I'm going to turn the music down. You know, I'd like to play it the whole time. It's such a great song. And that's, if you want to check that song out, that's called One Tribe, Keep the Oil in the Ground. Lolly B posted that on one of the Standing Rock boards. And it's really positive because it really talks about how the different approach to, let's call it proactivism. It's not activism, it's not protesting. This is protection of a shared resource. And that's why we're here with this medicine update, which is a new thing that we're doing here on Facebook Live. And we'll be talking to people who have different takes, different expertise. And as this is happening, today is a very big day. That's why we wanted to get out here live. This is Indigenous People Day. And we're here with Mark Morey. Mark, thanks a lot for joining us on the show. Can you tell us a little bit about your place and what you've been doing lately with the Standing Rock?
Sure. Thanks, Khalil. Thanks for this opportunity here. I went to Standing Rock with a group of friends recently, about a week ago. I was there for a week, and we spent time basically learning how we could, make the best support for what's going on there. And we learned a lot of things on the ground that's not apparent from the media. And so we brought in some winter shelters, and we delivered them by hand to a couple of places. One of them being the media center up on the hill, which was just in time. It was a 16 by 20 canvas tent, and their nylon media tent got flattened by 40-mile-an-hour winds when we were there. And so they were able to move in just in time and continue broadcasting, because essentially that's the key here, is getting the word out. So that was one thing we did, and we also spent time with the Indigenous Youth Council, which back in April, they were the youth that ran to Washington, D.C., and delivered a message to Obama saying no more. And they called it Running for Our Lives. And that really touched me. I work with youth. I've been working with youth for the last 20 years. And my approach really to cultural change has been a long, slow one, which is educating youth around culture, identity, and how to connect with the earth as part of your human development, part of your birthright. So by the time there are young adults in the world, they have a moral compass about right action. So we bonded with them when we got there and provided a shelter for them, and they're a hot ticket, that group.
Sounds great. Yeah, I've always felt that it's our duty to start change through our children. It's in the first years of the kid's life is when they develop the kind of neuroreceptor connections in the mind that are going to establish their life as they grow older. So thank you for your service to our children, and thank you for your involvement in this movement. I myself haven't really had much ties to any form of movement such as this. This is new to me. I've always been a person of business and technology, and kind of strayed away from anything that maybe stir up emotions. I'm kind of a neutral person, but when I saw what was happening in Standing Rock, I knew right away that this was different, that this is something we all have to talk about, because everything is at stake. Our water, even just the abuse of authority in this country. And I don't think it's a very isolated incident. I think it's happening a lot. And this is a beautiful way for us to put the foot down. So thank you for your service. And what we saw today, can you tell us a little bit about what was happening today, and why is it so important on Indigenous People Day?
Today's an incredible intersection of all of this. I mean, sometimes I think, well, what's special about this? This is just another pipeline, quote unquote, protest. And where we're at, Khalil, I believe, is the end of late stage capitalism. This continual extraction of fossil fuels has had diminishing returns. And we're at the point where climate science is telling us we need to stop all new projects as of yesterday, or we're not going to make our targets for Paris that we set last December. And so there is kind of an intervention that's happening for addiction to fossil fuel extraction, to corruption in government and corporations. So they're just not going to voluntarily give up the power and give up that habit. So what's inspiring is they picked the wrong place at the wrong time, I think, or perhaps it's like the match at the powder keg. This pipeline was going above Bismarck, and they said we can't do that because it could actually affect our drinking water. So let's run it south down near the reservation. This is, the final resting place of Sitting Bull. Right?
Wow. This
is the staging land of the Battle of Greasy Grass. I found out the last time all these Sioux tribes gathered to take out Custer. This is significant spiritual and cultural location for people. And with the statistics of indigenous unemployment, poverty, suicide, alcoholism, they're essentially against the wall, right? They have nothing to lose. So all of that said, the nexus right here since August, there's been a lot of escalation. Is they filed an injunction, and the state of North Dakota said, "Forget it. We're gonna run this pipeline under the Missouri River." But the federal government stepped in from 3 different agencies, and it's been sitting since then, since September 9th, I think. And just last night, on Sunday, during the debate, they lifted the injunction, which means that Dakota Access Pipeline can continue constructing within the 20 miles of the river that was formerly halted. And that's going to run within a couple miles of the reservation, which is right where all those people are standing for protecting the water. It's such a heightened, blatant disregard for humanity that the only way this is stopped is if people gather and physically get in the way and say no. Now, the other thing is that today has been historically known as Columbus Day, which, as we do continued historical research on cultural oppression, right?
Wow.
And the way media has spun our history books since the beginning of time, we know that Columbus was not such a great guy and actually committed a lot of atrocities to Native people, right? The people in power wrote the history book. So there's a huge movement for turning this to Indigenous Peoples Day. Mm-hmm. And right when all the right things could happen, they lifted that injunction.
It's out of control. So, nobody was researching anything.
That's like incredible.
It's out of control. I can't believe it.
It's incredibly insulting, and offending. So people got up today out of camp and they went to the site because they were going to do prayers. And this is what they do. I saw this firsthand. They call them protests. They call them violent. They call them terrorists, but that's media spin. What actually happens on the ground is people show up with drums, with tobacco, elders, prayer flags. Yesterday it was women and children. And the police show up with riot gear, tear gas, sound cannons, these big industrial vehicles that look like they're from Iraq, the invasion of Iraq. Like there's something incredibly violent going on. And so when they show up that way, it's terrorizing and intimidating to the Native people who are simply saying, this is our water, and it's your children's water, our children's water. Once that's polluted, you can't take it back. And that's a very sound argument because since the year 2000, if you look on Wikipedia, pipeline leaks have been happening every single day in the country. It's inevitable. If you just do the search, they're leaking every single day for the last 16 years. So it's not if it happens, it's when it happens. So they're righteous, in so many ways to be doing that. But when they show up militarized, it's like they want to antagonize. They want to cause some unrest, but the people refuse. I saw this woman on a bullhorn today. Shailene Woodley was there today. She just returned to Standing Rock, which I respect. She has a job, right? She's an actress, but she's also leveraging her well-knownness to say I'm a human being.
Little video clip,
right?
Of
this
her.
Is real. Yeah, show her what happened today.
Yeah.
I'm being arrested. I was.
So essentially, she's saying that she was there with everybody else. She started to leave, but they singled her out because they knew she had all the followers.
40,000 people watching.
40,000 viewers, and that's censorship at work right here. When we supposedly don't censor our media, this is proof that they're censoring and they're following people for exposing this because
All right, so
they're
everybody
terrified.
knows we were going to our vehicle, which
They
had
are.
all surrounded.
Power doesn't know how to handle this response.
No, they're absolutely terrified that real truth is going to reach the people. They're going to say, well, why aren't we doing anything? This is really happening. This is abuse of power. And if they can do this here, then really, are we secure and are we safe? Are the representative keeping us safe, or are they keeping us at bay? Because we all know that authority and military and law enforcement was there to keep people safe, not to keep us from spreading truth and keep us, from talking. So that was what happened today. I mean, what are your thoughts on that, Mark?
Well, a couple of things have happened recently that are pretty shocking. Yesterday was a prayer walk to the sacred sites that were desecrated. If people aren't familiar with this, they were 15 miles away from these sacred burial grounds, and there was a court injunction filed that there are historical significant places and they should not be bulldozing this pipeline. And the people in the court on the other side, on the DAPL side, saw this information, and they leapfrogged 15 miles and intentionally desecrated the land as to erase the evidence.
That's out of control.
Intentionally. It was so offensive that it caused a huge uprising, and all sorts of people went down there, because we're talking about a different level of will, Khalil.
Mm-hmm.
When there is an ancestral offense, people have 1,000-year sense of who they are. These are not individual egos who are standing. These are people who are connected to their ancestry and their indigenous heritage. This is their original land, original water, original ancestors. So when those things get plowed up, they're like, you have to stop. So they all showed up there, and that's when the dogs came out. And these privatized security forces, who are really Blackwater operatives, were forcing the dogs on the people. And they still raised their hands and in peace. And they said, go away, you're not welcome here. They had no weapons. It was the most moving thing I ever saw. So yesterday when they walked to this site to pray about that violation, there was 50 police officers from 4 different agencies, different counties around North Dakota. And they blocked the road in this barricade, billy clubs, sound cannons, all of these militarized police. For what? For people walking down a road? Women and children? It was an incorrect response. It was inappropriate. The other day, here's a clip I think you have. Myron Dewey of the Digital Smoke Signals, indigenous media reporter on site. He does incredible live feeds. He and I got to be friends when we were there. He has basically learned to do counterintelligence by manning a drone with a video camera on it. And this DAPL security is up on the hill stalking the main camp with telephoto lenses just outside the property. So he flew a drone over there to photograph them. And the DAPL security contacted the local sheriff's office, who went and pulled over Myron and unlawfully went into his vehicle, into the vehicle that he was in, and stole his equipment.
Yep. And I do have a clip. I do. Let's put it on.
Play that.
So
play that.
We're going to be law enforcement a complaint against you, so we'll either cut a warrant or issue a summons complaint later on this week.
Right from the beginning. Here we go.
They have no warrant to grab anything. There we go.
So this is him taking the drone out of the vehicle.
To go through that vehicle?
Yep.
They asked him if he had a warrant, and he said, "Yep." He didn't have it.
Can we
just
see
walked away, out of control. So I just did some fast forward until really the good stuff. Once he started talking to him about, that it's under an investigation.
The stalking of some security guys down at the north camp there. So we're going to be law enforcement a complaint against you, so we'll either cut a warrant or issue a summons complaint later on this week, just to let you know. We are seizing that as evidence of the crime. Okay.
So basically, there was that he was describing to him that they skirted the issue whether there was a warrant or not, and pretty much what he said is that we're investigating a crime and this is taking for evidence. So there was really no description of what the crime was or whether there was a warrant or not, as he just had this rhetoric he was over and over and over. And he kept asking, well, Where's the warrant? Let's see it. Let's see it. So the idea is these guys are just getting caught out. They're just billies. They're going out there and they're doing what they want to do. And it's like, the questions will be asked later. It's just what's happening. There's no procedure. There's no, earlier when she was arrested, she actually did not even get her rights read to her. There's no protocol being followed by these law enforcement. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, they just picked her out of the crowd. She was walking back with 5 people who were on the front line. Like, there was hundreds of them. And they were all going to their cars. They all said, okay, we'll leave. We did our prayer. We're going to peacefully walk away. I mean, people got arrested, but those are called arrestables. They went and did that on purpose. The rest of the people were just standing there witnessing, right? Making sure nothing terrible happened. And as she's walking back to her car, she saw these massive vehicles next to her RV. The one with the sound cannon, this other militarized vehicle. And she turns to the camera and she says, hate to use a movie pun, but something divergent is about to happen. Some shit's about to get real.
Yeah.
And as she walked up, this police officer came up to her. It was more like a National Guard. I don't even know what service he represented. And he said, stop right here. This is the one. Stay here. She's standing with 3 other people who were on the front line, and they singled her out, put handcuffs on her, and walked her away without the other people being arrested. I mean, they totally identified her and picked her out.
Yeah, we actually have that in the clip.
Giant guns and the giant truck
There we
behind
go.
them, just so they could arrest me, so they knew this would happen. I hope you're watching mainstream media.
Okay, so she says at the end, I hope you're watching mainstream media, but it kind of started with this part of the clip. She
I was
goes,
just told that the cops are following me.
so people are already telling her she's got the cops following her. She says that here.
Send some prayers.
Send some prayers, And, kind of fast forward that. And right here, and I put a little caption on this video, cop in military gear. It says, this one, like pretty much like, he goes, this one, hold up, right? So he'd already had her focused in and knew who she was. This stuff's so obvious. I mean, they're walking themselves into some really bad territory with everything that's happened. It's embarrassment to law enforcement everywhere.
Yeah, when with these several incidents going on, the one with the women and children walking, today with Shailene Woodley getting arrested, and when the drone was illegally confiscated, what it shows me is there's a kind of embeddedness, meaning that, the governor of North Dakota has investment in the pipeline. And he's calling out the National Guard. He's calling this an uprising. The sheriff's department probably all know people that are trying to get jobs in the pipeline. People are trying to survive, but basically there's a corruption between the law enforcement and the rights of the people. Not to mention the edge that we're on with climate change, right? There's a nexus happening here. It's almost like in the movie The Matrix, where the evil and the good powers are rising to this zenith. We're all in this same situation together, and it needs to basically collapse and resolve. This old pattern of control is not going to work in this case. You can't stop tens of thousands of people arriving to Standing Rock. It's not going to happen. The will of the people is so strong there. They say, we will not yield. We will not yield. You don't know who you're dealing with. So this kind of messing with the native people, I think, is an old paradigm. Like, we can just, like Selma, Alabama, 1950, we can just do this. We can be lawless. We can be reckless. There's no going to be recourse on any of this, but there will be.
Right.
Even more so as the days go on.
And it's almost everything they're doing is like the wrong thing, the wrong day, the wrong place, the wrong people. And it's a call for everybody to just step up to the plate and be like, enough is enough. We're not going to sit back and watch it. And it's just a symptom of a larger problem. This isn't an isolated incident. We're looking at everything. Corporations are controlling the media. There is a very important person that goes by the name of Paul Cienfuegos, and I'm not sure if you've heard of him. He is working with corporations against constitutional rights. And what he says is if the corporations are still treated like people and they can go and run over people's rights, just basically because they're a corporation, then we're never going to have any change. All of this stems from that specific thing. Corporations are not humans. Humans have right to clean water. Even here in Connecticut, they're proposing a huge gas line. This stuff's going to happen over and over and over till we get the root at the cause of this problem. And this is really like a perfect opportunity. You know, we can't, everybody in the world knows what happened to Native Americans. It's no secret. There's people watching from France, Germany, all over the world. That everybody is saying, are you going to allow this to happen? Let's get these corrupt people out of there. Let's start getting back to, you know, what America was supposed to be, progressive and learning and growing and from our mistakes.
Yeah, I appreciate that, what you're saying there, because you know, I said the other day, someone was interviewing me that you probably could take any global because all these things are coming together. If you think about capitalism and climate change and corruption in politics, the 1%, human rights issues with indigenous people, historical trauma, all sorts of things coming together. You know, Black Lives Matter falls into here. That we're going to have these issues not just at Standing Rock, and we do currently, but we're going to have them all over the place. So if you're kind of asleep to the story and you're wondering why this is important, it will be at your doorstep soon. The reason why I'm all in on this is because I see a tide turning. I've done a lot of things for long-term change in my life. You know, I haven't been politically on the front line much at all, and I think probably my recent actions have created a bit of a disturbance in the circles that I'm a part of.
Absolutely.
And mostly what I get is, thank you for being there. Thank you for acting. Thank you for dropping your life and going there, because I think they want to as well. Yeah. So I'm going to make a call out to all who are watching right now to actually take a step forward in some kind of action. You know, you can share what we're watching right now. That's one way of creating attention. You can, you know, follow my page. You can follow Khalil's work. You can follow Myron Dewey, who's Digital Smoke Signals. Of course, you can make tons of phone calls. You can physically go to Standing Rock. Some people said, am I allowed to go? Is that going to be okay? I believe it is. If you go to Red Cloud Defense Center, we coach people on how to send caravans there that are relevant to the needs of the people, because it's a moving target, what they need right now. Winter shelters mostly. And a lot of it is about building rapport and building a relationship. A young man who I mentored for a long time named Liam Purvis wrote up a How to Be a Good Ally at Standing Rock. It's a really good document about what to expect of this movement, which is at the heart of the Native community. So there are a lot of actions to do, and I encourage you to go all in. This isn't just going to blow over and the next movie come out and the next little interesting tidbit in politics. This is our future. We are no longer in business as usual. There's a quote I want to read you from Leha Spoonhunter, one of the youth council I mentioned. He posted this today, and he says, we're continuing to stand strong because you can't break a warrior spirit. We're still fighting a 500-year battle, and we are resilient. Think about that. These people have not gone away, given the givens.
Yeah. And
we will win and show that greed and corruption will not succeed. And I'll add, they're going to do this in a peaceful and prayerful way.
Thank you.
Is that powerful or what?
That's very powerful. And I hope that it, you know, hits home with everybody out there. And we'll put some links in the description. There's some hashtags already in the description. And we'll make sure to put some of this information about helping. It's there's very specific things that are needed there. I ask that people don't just blindly go to funding projects online like GoFundMe and Fundraiser and all this stuff, because it's hard for them to get that money. But to find out exactly what they want and organize that. I know there is, I think there's a van leaving from New England that's going to be bringing supplies very soon, and I'll put some information on that. But the ways of helping are really asking people who are there, the organizers, to tell you exactly what you would need, because there's many things that are needed to help this cold. It's already cold there, and it's going to be, I mean, North Dakota has some of the most notorious winters. It's unbearable, and they're willing to stand it out, and they need your help to get those specific things that are going to help them So check that out. Follow the NODAPL hashtag on your social media, and also check some of these descriptions. Mark, thanks a lot for being with me on this medicine update, and I'm sure we'll hear more from you, and looking forward to seeing where this all goes, as I think that we're heading in the right direction. This is not going to be easy, but we have already started this conversation, and many of us are coming together. So
Beautiful. Thank you, Khalil. Thanks for the opportunity. We'll do this again.
absolutely. Sounds great, Mark. Have a beautiful day.
Okay. Thanks.
Nice.